Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to cover a frequently asked question that I get, or a request more like. A lot of people want, when they are buying their first ball python, they think that they need to get the youngest hatchling possible so they can let it grow with them um, and have it for its entire life. And they want it as young as possible so they can kind of tame it down and make it a true pet. It's actually really not a good idea for a first-time ball python owner. You don't want to get a newly hatched baby. Now I'm actually going to show you a couple of hatchlings and a couple other sizes here. I've got some really cool clown stuff I'm going to show you, so just hang tight for that. So anyway, with a new ball python owner who doesn't have experience getting a newly hatched snake to start feeding, you don't want to go down that road. Ball pythons can be notoriously difficult to get starting feeding unless you have experience with that. Obviously, the only way to get experience is to do it. But if you just want a ball python as a pet, you're better off getting something that's at least a few months old and is an established feeder, especially if you want it to eat frozen thawed. Getting a newly hatched baby to eat, basically, for me, I set them up in these racks. They're on cocoa chips. They've got the proper temperature and humidity, the hot spot in the back of the rack, and it's dark and quiet in there. It's not being handled or anything. And we offer our new babies live crawler mice. And then after they've eaten a few meals, they graduate to hoppers, and then most of the time I switch them over to frozen thawed. The process for me is very simple because I've been doing this for a long time and I've got a lot of experience with it. But for a new person that just wants a ball python as a pet, to get a hatchling, like basically right out of the egg baby, and to get that snake to start feeding is going to be, it could be a nightmare. So don't go down that road. If you want to get a ball python for your first or maybe your second ball python as a pet, get something that's at least, like, I would say 4 to 5 months old, that's an established feeder. I typically don't sell my snakes until they've eaten at least a half a dozen times. Mostly it's more often than that, or more than that. So you want something that's a very well-established feeder, especially if you need the snake to be eating frozen thawed. Not everybody has live mice available to them, so they need them to eat frozen thawed. The process of getting a new baby to eat frozen thawed can be really difficult. So let the breeders do it first and purchase one that's eating frozen thawed. So I'm going to show you some examples here of some newly hatched babies. This is my first clutch of the year. This is actually a Hypo Stranger clown clutch. So start off on a pretty high note here. This is a Hypo clown. So these just hatched. They hatched about 2.5 weeks ago, and they just shed a couple of days ago. So that's a Hypo clown. This is a pastel stranger clown that's het hypo. At least I'm pretty sure. The blacks are a little blacker than the next one I'm going to show you, so I think this one's just a het. And then this one here is a pastel hypo stranger clown. You can see the lining where this one, it's real dark, high contrast. The hypo reduces that black to basically like a kind of a grayish color. So these are actually my first stranger clowns I've ever produced. The breeding was a pastel stranger clown het hypo bred to a hypo clown. So there's no other genes at play in this. So these are examples of snakes you would not want to get. I actually offered these their first meal last night, and none of them ate. So I'll try it again. They might just not be quite ready to eat yet, but I'll be offering them another meal again, probably in 2 or 3 days. You never want to offer a snake a meal, like every day or anything. If it doesn't eat one day, it's probably not going to eat the next. You just want to leave it alone for a few days. And I'll be actually coming out with another video at some point here pretty soon, discussing how to get ball pythons to eat, and especially with problem feeders or newly acquired snakes. So anyway, these guys are little babies that a new pet owner would not want to have. You're much better off going with something about this size. So this isn't really that much bigger. It's a pretty small snake. I'll bring out one of the other ones. So this is the size difference. But this one is probably 4 or 5 months old. It's not big for its age, but I don't really power feed my snakes that are for sale here. I feed them 1 meal a week. I don't go out, give them a huge meal. I just give them 1 moderate-sized meal per week. So slow and steady growth rate. But you could see this one's got a nice thick body, She's eating frozen thawed really well, hopper mice right now, I believe, and she can take down a large fuzzy or small rat pups at this point too. So something like this would be a much, much better choice. And this is a blue-eyed leucistic. It's actually a butter mystic. And this one here is an albino leopard pinstripe. And this one here is a lavender albino that's actually het for clown. So something this size is ideal. These snakes aren't going to be so set up in their, in their ways. Like basically, they're not going to be so used to their homes that they're not going to adapt well to a new home, and they're eating extremely well. And then here's another one. This is actually a 2021 pastel leopard albino. Something like this would be a great choice too. He's obviously a very well-established feeder, and he would be a good choice too. So basically, the moral of the story is, if you're looking to get your first ball python, or maybe your second ball python, even if it sounds like a good idea to get a new baby, like freshly hatched baby, don't do it. You're only going to give yourself some trouble, and you're going to potentially have heartbreak if the snake doesn't adapt. Let the breeder that produced it feed it enough times to get it to be established, and then buy it. So, the ball python hatching season is kind of year-round at this point, but the majority of the hatchlings come out from, I would say, like late June or early July through October. So that's the time when most hatchlings are available. But really, you're better off getting one from the year before. Like, I've got plenty of babies here that hatched late fall last year. Those babies would be ideal to get for your first ball python pet. So I hope you guys learned something with that. Make sure to check out my website, royalconstrictordesigns.com, to see what I actually have available. And also, if you want to join our Patreon membership, you can learn a lot of stuff there. I actually put out a lot of additional information, videos and things there too. So you could do that. Just go to patreon.com, do a search for Royal Constrictor Designs, and I'll be back again with another video for you very soon.